Howdy, y'all. Caleb here. Today we're talking grand strategies in Age of Sigmar 3.0. Of course, with a Seraphon focus on these things. First off, I want to throw out a shout out to Weird Knobs of Austin and their reference sheet, which I've taken these from. They've collated a bunch of awesome stuff for Age of Sigmar 3.0. Put it on one sheet. I'm going to put it in the comments below. Go download it and print that thing out because it's awesome. It'll really help speed up your games in this new edition. So, grand strategies, what are they? At the when you're building your army, you're going to pick one of these grand strategies to add to your army that you're going to take to the table, and you're going to need to achieve this to score some extra points at the end of the game. So this can really break those close games. If it's really close near the end and you've achieved your grand strategy and they haven't, you're getting those extra points, and that might push you over the top to win the game. Now, this is different than the battle tactics, which are chosen every hero phase, and that this will be chosen while you're building your army. So you got to have a strategy, a grand strategy in mind when you're building your army, no matter what you're going to face, especially like in a tournament where you're going to face a wide variety of things. Are these achievable in your army against a wide variety of opponents? So we're going to go through them, and I think some of them are pretty obvious what kind of army you'd take them in, what kind of list you'd take them in, but we'll look through them as we look at these different grand strategies. So, Beastmaster. When the battle ends, you complete this grand strategy if there are any monsters from your starting army on the battlefield. Now, obviously, we like this one for Thunder Lizard. If I'm taking Stegageddon, this might be what you take, because this monsters would encompass basically your entire army. And so you want this if you've got a lot of monsters. A lot of people only have 4. We may have up to 8. And so that this is nice in that it gives you some flexibility, especially in Thunder Lizards, because a lot of different things will count as your monsters in that list. So a great one. You're going to get monsters killed in Thunder Lizard. Let's not joke ourselves there. But you'll probably at least have one at the end of the game still alive. So I love that one in Thunder Lizards. I'm probably not taking it in like Fangs of Sotek because generally you don't have many monsters there. But Thunder Lizards, that's a great one for that one. Dominating Presence. When the battle ends, you complete this grand strategy if there are more units from your starting army on the battlefield than there are units from your opponent's starting army on the battlefield. So this won't count towards summon units in like Fangs or from an Engine of the Gods. But if you're pushing out a bunch of MSU, which, let's be honest, this edition has gone to a lot of MSU units, this might be what you want to take. Now, if you're just flooding the board with units of 10 skinks and Fangs of Sotek, this would be like an easy win. Now, you may not score any other points in the game, but you could definitely get this one. I'm not leaning too heavily towards this one. I think some of the other ones are more achievable, especially because this relies on what your opponent brings. You know, if your opponent brings something that has a ton of units, then this one will be really difficult. Or if they bring things that are really tough that you just can't kill, then you may not get this one. So I'm kind of leaning towards grand strategies that I can control a little bit more of and not necessarily opponent dependent. Next one is Hold the Line. This one's actually from the core rules. We have a mix here of the core rules and the GHB 21. They're all on the same list, so quite useful, this little reference sheet. Hold the Line. When the battle ends, you complete this grand strategy if there are any battle line units from your starting army on the battlefield. I think this one's probably going to be the one that you see a lot of, especially if somebody has some tough battle line units. We generally don't have real tough battle line units, but we're going to have quite a few, and then some that we can hide. So, like if you knew that you're going to go into this one, and I'm going to try to complete this one with one unit of skinks that I'm just going to put off the board, or not off the board, but in the corner, then you might do that. Or if you're taking a bunch of Stegodons, guess what? They are battle line. All you have to do is have one still alive at the end of the game, and you score this one. I think you're going to see Hold the Line a lot in a variety of armies because it is pretty easy to grab as long as you can make sure not all your battle line have to be up in the fight. So a good one there. You might see that in Fangs of Sotek because generally I wouldn't get both my big hordes of skinks killed in Fangs of Sotek. If I was losing a game, I would definitely lose probably one horde, but usually one is still out there somewhere with some models still alive by the end of the game. Next one, Pillars of Belief. When the battle ends, you complete this grand strategy if there are any priests from your starting army on the battlefield. I don't think I would ever take this unless Engine of Gods or something gets a priest keyword, or the Troglodyte gets a priest keyword. Then maybe that would be worth taking. But our only priest right now is the Skink Priest, and he is so weak that your opponent will just focus fire that one down. So I would not take this one. Predator's Domain. When the battle ends, you complete this grand strategy if you control more terrain features than your opponent. This one's kind of weird in that there's some new terrain rules. I had to look this up. What does it mean by control more terrain features? And there's some battle plans that allow you to control terrain features, kind of like an objective. When you garrison terrain feature, that's kind of like controlling it. There's a section on control in the core rules. But I think this one is too highly dependent on the battle plan, to be honest, and the table. And so I don't see this one going in. And your opponent, all they have to do to keep you from getting this is just hop in some terrain pieces, just like you're doing. So even though we can plop down our own terrain feature, which you will probably never take unless they update the rules for it, I don't see this one being taken very often. Next one, Prize Sorcery. When the battle ends, you complete this grand strategy if there are any wizards from your starting army on the battlefield. So I like this one, especially if let's say you're taking Croak with some guard, that he is very difficult to kill. And that may not be your only wizard, and all you have to do is have any wizards from your starting army on the battlefield. And so since we have a really tough wizard, we can probably achieve this one. Let's say you're not even taking Croak. Let's say you're taking a Troglodyte. You're thinking, why would I take a Troglodyte without Croak? Okay, good point. But let's say I'm going to build a list for Prize Sorcery. You can make a Troglodyte really tough, especially with the Troglodyte already heals. Let's throw it in Coalesce to where it's -1 damage, has an extra 2 wounds. And let's give it the artifact, that amulet, the generic artifact with an enhancement for a 5-up Feel No Pain, or a 5-up ward save, now it's called. And a heroic action where he can heal himself. Now you get an extra heal. And so you could heal him 2d3 a turn with a 5-up ward save and -1 damage. You could make a Troglodyte really tough. Now, it's not going to do much damage, but if you're just building for that, you could. We can make some tough wizards. But this one's not bad if you're taking Croak, or if you're crazy enough to build a Troglodyte featured army. Okay, enough fun with that one. Next one, Sever the Head. When the battle ends, you complete this grand strategy if there are no heroes from your opponent's starting army on the battlefield. Wow. This one's maybe it's not bad for like Fangs of Sotek where you're able to snipe out heroes, but you'll run into those armies where you've got Marathi, or you've got some of these heroes are functionally unkillable for a while in the battle, and so this one is going to be very opponent dependent. If you feel like you can snipe out most heroes, then go for it. But they have the ability to just hide a hero, and you won't be able to get this. So I don't think I'll be taking this one very often. Vendetta. When the battle ends, you complete this grand strategy if the model chosen to be your opponent's general has been slain, and the model chosen to be your general has not been slain. This one's not bad, especially because in a lot of my Coalesce lists, you're going to be taking a pretty beefy general, and then we've got the ability to get that 5-up ward save onto your hero. But remember, everybody now has that 5-up ward save for their heroes, and they're probably going to be putting on their toughest model, who is probably going to be their general. And so unless you're confident that you can always destroy the opponent's general, I think this one can be a little bit harder to achieve in every matchup that you might have. So I think it's still a good one, and I think you could take it, especially if you're taking something like Croak, who's going to be really hard to kill, unless he, of course, just kills himself, which is always possible. But I think my favorite ones are probably going to be Beastmaster for my Thunder Lizard lists, and probably Hold the Line for my Fangs of Sotek lists. So what do you guys think? about grand strategies. Have you gotten a chance to play any games yet in Age of Sigmar 3.0? Which grand strategies did it take? And were you able to achieve them? Let me know in the comments, and go check out that reference sheet from Weird Knobs. It's pretty awesome. See you guys next time.